Hey
You
man,
said you had some. No, I got an intro for
oh
this one.
wow, oh shit, I'm prepared.
Yeah, so
Okay,
you said you got something going on after this. I'm throwing you under the bus for the intro. What's the plans?
I got a little something, something. I got a little something, something. So it was, and I gave myself enough buffer time, for us
Okay,
to wrap up, just in case
okay,
someone happens to be late.
okay.
But it's like to
Not me,
wrap up,
Misfits. Not me.
quick shower, quick change, and then head into the hood and meet up with a friend.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
dropping my notes, bro.
Is
Um,
is this a
yeah,
is this a date or
it's no, it's not. I make it sound
okay?
more exotic than it is. It's no, it's because uh yeah, we haven't had a chance to catch up for a while, and so before the holidays get crazy, it's like we'll catch up and grab a little dinner or something like that,
Okay,
and yeah.
okay.
But speaking of which, like it's the new year, and I haven't seen you all year. There you go.
Yeah, good
There's
one.
my
Let's get that out of the way.
roll the credits. From Sydney, Australia, all the way to Portland, USA, two misfits hang out after class to riff on the B-sides of professional life. These are your professional misfits.
Perfect.
Um, all the way from Sydney, Australia, I'm your host, Christopher Sellers,
From Portland, Oregon, I'm Broedy Ipox.
and we are your professional misfits in 2025, where we riff on the B-sides of professional life. Brody, Happy New Year. How's it been,
Yeah,
bro?
yeah. The end of the year was a marathon, but we made it there. So that's all you can ask for, right?
Right. Happy New Year, misfits. I hope it's a new year. I hope it's a new you. I hope. Right. I
God.
keep it rolling. I hope that Christmas and all the New Year's things were tolerable. The family was tolerable. You had a good time. Plenty of food, plenty of drink. Everyone was merry and enjoyed themselves. It's neat that we're in the interval right now for this season because we're just going to riff on whatever's going on. So there's no set obligations. There's going to be a lot more free flowing, a lot more loose than our normal conversations. But still, we're still supported. Oh shit, we're still sponsored by IGU, and I'm going to be super professional. I found it straight away. So we're still sponsored by IGU in 2025. So a whole 2 years we've been sponsored by IGU, and it's an older game with a new twist where modern innovation and nostalgia come together to bring you Tag for today. Get it on the Apple Store, get it on Google Play, get it because Brody's also working on it. So it's going to be huge in the new year. You and all your
Yes, it
friends
is.
should be playing IGU.
You will be. You'll hear about it. Right now, it's popping off in Bangladesh and a couple places in India. So,
You're huge in Bangladesh right now.
we're doing what we're doing.
That's a t-shirt. Um,
Yes, I love that.
right. So,
Huge
okay,
in
so
Bangladesh.
it's interval, bro. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? What's on your list?
I mean, I've got a few things that Joyce always cooks up for us, but I kind of liked where you had mentioned taking this in the beginning. As long as there's no more fucking New Year, new me jokes.
No more
But
dad
I
puns. No
mean,
more.
look, that's where we're at, right? And that's what people are doing. And yeah,
Well,
let's
you're
talk about
rocking.
that a little.
I'll say you're rocking the full beard, bro. It's not just the
Yeah,
goatee. It's not just the mo. Like you hit puberty and everything.
yeah. Misfits. This is the first time in Misfits history I've had the full beard. I think.
Interesting.
I believe so.
Are you gonna
But
go all? Are you gonna go all the way? You're gonna grow it out. You're gonna be one of those
I don't
bros.
think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. The long beards gross me out, dude. They gross
Mm-hmm.
me out. I'm not trying to be rude. Anybody that's got a long beard, misfits that love us that have a long beard, I'm sorry, but for me
Oh
personally,
please,
I just can't. I just can't do it, dude. I
I'm
can't.
I'm sure we're all adults and figured out like it suits some people.
Yeah,
It works on some, it doesn't work on others.
yeah,
I can't do it. It doesn't grow out. Like anything
yeah.
more than what I've got this, which is like 2 or 3 day stubble, it grows out and sort of in patches, so it just looks really dirty and really seedy. So
Well, I'm lucky
if
because I generally have the same problem, but right now it doesn't feel like it's looking that bad.
no,
So we're
that's
we're
looking healthy.
borderline. Good,
So I
good.
either have the baby face and I look like I'm
Yeah,
12,
Yep.
or it's
Well, that's me now. It's like now so for the first fucking time, Misfits, in like probably the history of my life, I go in and I get my nicotine pouches, and I didn't get carded. I didn't get carded, folks.
It's over.
I didn't get carded. That's so
It's
fucked
over,
up.
bro.
But I was so excited about it though, because I'm telling you, no matter what, dude, they're carding me, and it's like, hey, okay, I know you're doing your job. I get it. It might be somewhat hard to tell that I'm over 18, but I mean, it's not completely hard to tell that I'm over. And again, I know some kids get away with it before, but like, dude, I am literally covered in tattoos. Like, you gotta just little common sense. Okay, this motherfucker's probably 18.
They still gotta ask, you know.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
how
sure,
it is.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so New Year, everybody's gonna. I hate it. I used
Hopes
to be
and
one of those
dreams,
people.
ambitions,
Yep.
resolutions. Yep.
I used to be one of those people, set a resolution even like really before the New Year's came, like really visualize it and like
You know
all
what?
the stuff, dude. All the stuff.
You strike me as that guy. I see, like, November's coming. I see November coming. I see Broedy going, all right, like, they're not resolutions, they're New Year goals.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
like, and
100%.
targets.
Yep.
And like, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend time with the kids. I'm going to lay it all out. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm going to hold myself accountable. And this is going to be great content. It's going to be great content. And like, yeah. And like, you're the January content, bro.
1,000%. I was, yeah, and I'd say the last like 5 years, I don't know. I don't know if I just woke up one day and I was like, okay, this is all bullshit.
Just gave up.
Somebody said something to me. They said January isn't the new year. I mean, like, if you genuinely look at what we used to practice and the way that most of the rest of the world works, the new year generally revolves around spring. That's the rebirth of life.
Yes.
That's the new year. That's the energy that it carries. And so I always look at spring as much more of a, like, this is my next jumping point kind of thing. I'm coming out of winter. I'm shaking off the snow. I'm alive again, kind of thing.
Okay.
Lately, yeah, like the last 2 years, and I've been going through shit, but the last 2 years, it's like fucking January rolls around and everybody's doing that shit. And I'm like, bro, fuck you. And look, I'll say this: the cynicism is only warranted because I was that guy again. And the reason that I can say that, and the reason that Chris is making jokes, and this isn't, maybe there are some people that really truly for the full year live by a New Year's resolution. But I'm telling you, 90% of people, March rolls around and you have fucking long forgotten what you fucking resolved to do.
Gen 2nd rolls around and they're like, it's hard. It's cold. It's
right. Yeah.
I don't wanna.
I just don't. I don't feed into it. I don't. And I think a lot of people that are serious about goals look at it that way too. It's like, bro, if you're waiting until the end of the year, if that's your visualization point, you're already fucked up on the way that you are approaching your goals anyways. You shouldn't be waiting, like there's really no perfect time to do this shit, whatever it is. So just go do it, just go fucking do it and get it done. January 1st ain't gonna fucking change a goddamn thing, people. I promise you. It's just another day.
It's generally harder after a hangover, Misfits.
Yeah, fucking hands down.
But let us know, Misfits. Like, are you resolution kids? Like,
are you?
Am I? No.
I don't see. I see you begrudgingly fucking approaching it like all of you motherfuckers are doing this. I'm not. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's probably accurate. Yeah. My biggest concern January 1st is like, where am I going to get coffee? But luckily my little French place up the road, they're open. They're open every day. Yeah. So I'll be in there getting coffee and croissants Jan 1st, most likely. But
So is New Year's big over there? Like same thing
no,
for.
no, no. Like this is an anomaly. Like, bear in mind, like if this was anywhere, even in Sydney, like most places are guaranteed to shut down Christmas Day and
Mhm.
probably New Year's Day. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And even my local, their last day was uh about the 24th of December, and we'll shut down until the 6th of Jan. You know what I mean? So they'll take 2 weeks off because they're like little family business and
Mhm.
whatever. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's more standard. It just so happens, and I'm sure if anyone lives in a big city, there are those places that are like, no, we're gonna be the ones that are open Christmas Day. We're gonna be the ones that are open,
It's a
whenever.
very Portland thing to do.
Oh, is it? Interesting.
It is.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting.
It is.
So that'd be that. But like resolutions, no, look, I will say this though. I think around this time of year, around December, no, wait, we're in January. Ignore that. Um, around the time of December, I'll get reflective. Like I journal mostly every day anyway, but there's something in the air or something in the mood around December where you start to take stock of the year, you know, and just reflect like, what have I done this
Well,
year?
you
Has
pointed
there
out November earlier. Like that's for me. Like when
right?
November
Okay.
hits, like right around Thanksgiving, and I don't know if that's what it is. Like switching into gratitude makes me look a little more reflectively at the
Mm-hmm,
year.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, November hits, and I just start to look at every month in succession. I'm like, okay, what happened here? What happened here? And I try not to because I think it puts me back. I think a lot more than I want it to, but I can't help it sometimes either.
Look, I hear you, and this is probably where the conversation's going to land for today. It's this thing about, I guess, goal setting and ambition and accountability. If that's what we're getting to the root of. So similarly, like December, I'll sort of reflect on the year, and what have I done? What haven't I done? How do I feel about it? Where am I at? What's different? All those sorts of things. And if I'm honest, my first impression with all of that is normally a little bit of shame's not the right word, regret's not the right word, but that sense of kind of coming short of not having the things that I want. I'm sure you guys all identified. Like
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
if I was, let's say, if I was single in December of last year, that why am I still single now? That should have been a box that I ticked, for instance, and a bunch of professional goals or whatever. And it's funny because the things that I do achieve in the space of the year, I kind of shrug and go, yeah, but no, it was easy, which is sort of
Always,
yeah,
always.
that's yeah, good. I'm glad it's not uniquely my condition. So you tend to glaze over the wins and sort of focus on the shortcomings.
Mm-hmm,
And so teaching myself to find some balance and grace in that, and then you got to dig a little deeper to go, okay, so what has genuinely been achieved, and you find the deeper stuff. Like you find, like last year, for instance, I on my trip to Taz with the family, found some real gratitude around that, which is not something I normally have for family time. But this was one of the family events that was perfect weather, perfect conditions. Everyone had a great time, and
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
I sort of have the sense for the first time in very very many years that family's kind of okay.
mm-hmm.
They're kind of an okay bunch of people, and I'm kind of okay and safe around them. I'm sure, I'm sure, given Christmas and New Year, what we've just been through, Misfits, that might be something to reflect on. It's not, and it might not always be like that. I was having a conversation with another friend of mine in the States just after Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact, and he was like fucking hating it and really had a really awkward, not great Thanksgiving experience with his extended family. And
Mm-hmm,
he's also
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
father of about a 6-month-old boy with his partner, and is now considering, how much do I let you guys into my life now? Because Thanksgiving was kind of fucked, and fuck you,
Yep,
So
yep. Yeah, I
holidays
mean,
holidays bring that
fuck.
up.
Hell yeah, they do. And I love my family. I'm blessed. I really am. I'll say that. And this year for the holidays, we really didn't get together. I think if I'm being honest, I think that had a lot to do with us kind of realizing that my mom was the glue for a ton of that, and that we're going to have to put in a little bit more effort. And that's been acknowledged, which is a great thing.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's like you said, it's so funny because even with me enjoying my family, we go to my father's side of the family, and God bless you guys. If any of you are listening, I love you to death. But the truth is, there's almost I don't want to say uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable around them. That's the wrong word. It just and again, I think Misfits. What I'm trying to get at, and for a lot of people, is it feels like we're only doing this because we have to, and that part of it,
Okay.
that little piece of it,
Yeah.
God, that sucks. Like I like, yes, I do enjoy you, and I think you're an awesome person. So why the fuck don't I see you more than once a year? Like, and we're just gonna jam it into the fucking holidays and act like we give a shit. And it's again not like I don't care or I don't like these people, but it's just like out of sight, out of mind, and it's like I love you guys to death, but fuck, what's the point here? Is the condition only that we feel guilt if we don't? And
Yeah.
I wonder, and for me, it's always I've always like looked around and kind of felt that, because it's funny too. You'd be a kid and you would hear dad in the living room on the phone with grandma and grandpa or uncle or something, and it's not a great conversation. And then the next day is fucking Christmas, and you're like, wait a second, where did you guys just? And you're there, and it's like nothing happened, bro. That's not real. That's like, come on, like you know what I mean? A ton of those kind of scenarios and situations that to me, it's like, would I rather sit alone? Probably not, if I'm being honest with myself. But would I rather sit in an environment that feels genuine? Yeah. Yeah, I think I would, and whether that be alone or not, this year kind of opened my eyes to that. I've spent a lot of time this holiday season alone, and
Yeah, I mean, I'll qualify this though. Like your alone is different to my alone. Like you've still got like Tiff and a whole bunch of kids running around.
well, I'll even qualify further then, because I'll even say this. No, I solitary. Like a lot of moments
Okay.
where we've had stuff with the move going on, or the new business with IGU, and the podcast is really taking off. Like those things where I'm like, I've got some responsibilities and situations and circumstances that I need to take care of. You guys go to the mountain for the day or whatever it is, that it's like, you get done with that stuff, and even if it's like only an hour or two that you're just sitting there by yourself, it's just so much different. It's so much different. And yeah, not seeing my family, I think this year was a big one. That one was, I just haven't been around them. We normally go do Christmas ships and Christmas lights and meet up a couple times, and that hasn't happened. And that's yeah, but you're right. You're right. In retrospect, if I chalked up the fullness of my alone, it's definitely different.
But I mean, come on, no, it's different, but it's also what you're describing is like going to the family Christmas and still feeling alone. You know what I mean? So would you rather camp at home with your little tribe or go do the social thing? And we all know, like, especially if Misfits, if you've got partners or whatever else, there's always that discussion of like, well, I guess we'll do Christmas morning at ours, and then Christmas lunch at your in-laws, and then Christmas dinner like over here, and then oh shit, there's Boxing Day, so then we got to. So there's this whole negotiation, and that's just Christmas. That's not New Year, And if you've got kids, then everyone wants to see the kids, and like, is it going to be a family thing? And then there's that aunt you can't stand, and then the uncle that gets drunk, and then like all this sort of rah rah rah. But that's that's Christmas. That's the holidays, and often that's family. And so you either you get to a point of, well, at some point you got to make a decision. Like, this is what I want to do, or this is what I don't.
Right.
And
Right.
you're allowed to say no, Misfits. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to say, this year, no, we're not doing anything. This year, we're not taking the kids. This year, like, no, we're not coming to see you. It sort of plays in neatly to next week's conversation, which I won't give away because Broedy will forget and you'll all have to drink. But you're allowed you're allowed to set those boundaries. And in fact, it's times like this where, like, the boundaries need to be set. Otherwise, fuck, man. It's torturous.
I like that too. You said this year. You know what I mean? I think it doesn't have to be so finite, like it just what it feels like. I think a lot of people do that too. They box themselves in either way, where it's like completely cut off the fucking family, or, just commit to it and burn yourself out on it.
Well,
or one.
And, like, straight up, and, like, it's sort of a big thing around Sydney, because, it's summer for us down here, right? And the funny thing about Sydney is, if you're living in the east or even around the city, you've generally got a bit of money or whatever. So when Christmas comes, it's like, cool, we're fucking off to the islands, So
Right,
I'm thinking, like, how
right.
many families, or how many of you have, like, planned the family trip as an excuse, but, like, just to get some alone time?
Right.
Like, it's like, you don't have a burning desire to go to Bali. It's like, no, I don't want to deal with my family this year and all the stress. So, like, let's fuck off to the island and, spend a week or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, see? So, like, rather than find the exotic excuse, why not own, like, your little truth of, like, you know what? This year we're just going to have it in-house. We're just going to do it like this. Call you on the day. Love you so much. Thanks. That's that.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of New Year's holidays and resolutions and things like that, like, one thing that I will share that I do around this time of year is I do genuinely take stock of things that I'm trying to let go of. Like, if anything, that is, and I practiced that actually for a very long time. It came
Like
from
what?
when
What's on the list currently?
Dad, I love you. If you listen to this, I love you. I've got a lot of shit from my childhood that is just replaying at such a weird time and weird age, that I'm like, what is the fucking relevancy kind of thing. And, and I'm like, oh shit, a ton of this has to do with my dad and the way that I'm learning to be a father based off of the things that I wouldn't want my child to experience that I did.
Yes.
And that's great. Like, that's great. Do it better. I'm all for that. But there's this animosity that's kind of attached to it. And I don't like it. And it's made it hard to reach out to my dad. It's made it hard to want to have conversations with him. It's invite him to sporting events for the kids. And that's, I'm carrying a little bit of shame from that as well, that I haven't handled it. So, like, that's another piece that I'm trying to kind of, like, throw in the fucking river and watch it flow. But, yeah, no, that I would really like to let that go. It just doesn't sit well with me. It just doesn't sit well with me. I think it requires a level of maturity that maybe I feel I haven't got yet, but it also, because of that, kind of demands it of me. And when I look at it like that, I'm like, shit, he was trying to be a dad for the first time too, and shit, the world was a completely different fucking place. And he was raised completely different than I was. Like, it just, a lot of it comes up. And, again, I want to get to that place where when I do have those thoughts, it's not so much of an anger that's there. It's more of that forgiveness that I'm trying to lean into and relate to. And yeah, but it's fucking hard, dude. It's hard. It's,
well, like, good for you. Like, that's not small, and every
oh no, This one's not
I'd
small this year.
reason like every parent goes through it and can identify that. Like you only know what's been modeled to you, and then you will undoubtedly model what you know, and then you figure out not all of this is healthy, not all of this is great, not all of this is the best for this kid. And it's that classic saying of like every parent wants to do better than their parents, which is a noble pursuit. I don't even have kids, so God fucking knows what happens if and when. I'm already worried about it. Yeah. I'm already worried about it. But I'll look right here and now. I'll applaud you for two things. One, for sharing it, because you didn't have to go that deep that quick, and second, for actually sitting in the discomfort. Like you're recognizing it's a thing. You're recognizing it's a really hot bath that you're sitting in and it's really uncomfortable. You're not jumping out, and you're also not blaming everyone else around you. You're actually sitting in it going, this is uncomfortable. I don't know how to deal with it. I'd like to be a better person, and risking, really. And that's impressive. That's not an easy thing for anyone to do. And I'm sure if like misfits are listening at home, or like any other parents out there, they'd be like I don't have the answers either, and you've got to work through it like grain by grain. So well
I appreciate
done.
that. I really do. That means a lot to me, because I'll be honest with you, for like the last, I'd say 3 to 4 months, it's just been, it's been a struggle. And so, that's part of my end of the year practice is let's close it out with what can we get rid of? Like, fuck, dude.
I was going to say, so your New Year's resolution is be a better dad.
Yeah. There you go.
Hashtag 2025.
We'll put it on the sticky note and see how long it stays on the mirror. Yeah. So it's something that I do. I don't even I've never even shared it, actually. It's just, I used to do it in my journal. I don't so much anymore. It's more of like I said, I get to November, I start to reflect. December comes around, January hits, and I'm like, okay, this for most people is the jumping point. So I'm going to make this my graveyard. And again, when spring comes around, I'm going to be that person that everybody claims that they're going to fucking be. And I'm only going to be that way because I've let go of the things that held me back from being that person last year. And I feel it's healthy, but like I said, sometimes I will be honest with you, I get a little stuck in it. And it's funny because I never shy. I want to say that I never shy away from the intrapersonal kind of stuff and that work and that acknowledgement of self. But you get to some of these issues and you're like, wow, I'd really rather this stay under the fucking bed. So you're just like, holy shit, dude. 6 months ago, I didn't give a fuck about what kind of father my dad was. He was just one of my best buds. And now this is all of a sudden relevant. Like, get the fuck out of it. Like, why the fuck does this fucking matter? And the thing is, you can't argue it. You sit there and you're like, fuck, it is so incredibly relevant to every fucking facet of my fucking life that how can I not fucking want to go, dude, and that's not my fucking job, dude. I've grown up. I've made it past that point to where it's like, if that's still clinging on to me, it's a me thing. You know what I mean? It's not, it's not my dad. And I'll give my dad this because he does listen sometimes. So if he does happen to choose to listen to this episode, he is a completely different human being from who he was when I was a child. And I can only give him the utmost respect for that, because of what he changed from you can get a better human being out of that transition. And that's, I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. And I'm, because me and my dad could have been scrapping to this day, but, we're not. So that's, I'll give him that. I'll give him that. I'll give him his flowers.
Happy ending.
If there was something for you that you were gonna let go of from this year, what would it be? Is it a red-haired real estate agent? Is it?
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. No, thank God I haven't heard anything else about that. The first thing that jumped to mind was like the utter self-loathing and contempt. That would be nice to let go of. It's not that. I'm getting better at that. It's not that bad. Okay, that's a good question. Let me think for 20 seconds.
Well, no. Let's dive into your knee-jerk reaction. What? Why? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that would be. There's not just like you had just said for my kind of thing. I think it takes a lot to admit that, and for even if you were just making a passing joke, there's a ton of fucking people that I know for a fucking fact they're going to do the same goddamn thing this year. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to do this. That goal's going to slip. They're going to fall down. Maybe they don't do it for a week. Whatever the fuck it happens.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's fair. So here's my logic. It's because I'll do all these things and I'll have big dreams and I'll have big projects. And so unless they can get done in the way that I want them to be done and the timing that I want them to be done and the universe to align to get the fucking things done, because I've done everything that I need to do and I'm waiting on you and I'm waiting on other people and other things and other mechanics in the universe, which I have no control over. So that's number one, is trying to sort of have some sort of grace around, the world does not revolve by my will. That's a lot to deal with. But the shadow side to that is if, because these things aren't getting done and because I feel powerless to make them move, then I haven't accomplished all that I can and I'm a failure. Like there's no middle ground. If you've listened to previous seasons, and Broedy, I know we've talked about this more than once, designed a fintech last year in March, and that's gone on a whole different journey and is due for like a whole bunch of funding and whatever else. And now it's sort of sitting there in the ether waiting for some bureaucrats somewhere to sign off on where certain money is supposed to go. So this is a life-changing project, life-changing thing, like the golden ticket that you've written and designed and someone has validated and you're ready to cash in, and then they're not coming to the table to say, yes, we're ready to go. So because that hasn't been done, I get really down on myself of like, well, what am I supposed, like, okay, well then then you start searching for every other avenue you can to fucking make this happen. And that gets tough because it's the really simple logic of like, if I can't control the universe, but I can control me. And so if I can't control the universe, then I'm going to control me to the nth degree. So this is on you, Chris, then. This is on you to make this happen. And if you don't make it happen, then you're not good enough and you're not achieving and you're not like full potential of everything that you can be. And that's specifically what it's rooted. Again, you'll notice nowhere in here have I mentioned, I wrote a book and have just designed a course to go with the book, which will be launching in March of this year. Haven't mentioned that because I did that and that was easy. I did that out of frustration on waiting thing to come around. So like while I'm waiting, and we sent the business plan off for a second time mid last year, and waiting for them to come back with whatever. I'm like, cool, I'm going to write a book on why great ideas get missed and why innovation so consistently fails and you waste billions of dollars. Boom. Wrote and illustrated the book in 2 months. And then after giving it out to industry readers, again, that's something else I haven't mentioned, to industry readers, they all come back and say, this is amazing. You should design some course material around it. So I go, okay. And so I've just done that. Working with a woman at the University of Florida, shout out Dana. So I've actually done all of this shit and done all of this research and done all of this work, none of which gets mentioned because it's done. But the big thing,
just for 2 seconds, not even just for the misses, for you, Chris, some people spend an entire year writing a book. Some people spend their entire lives writing a book. Okay?
Don't be bringing logic to.
Bro, I mean, seriously, I love this. I love that this is where we're going because I mean, I think we all fucking do it. I mean, let's just pull it way back. Even just if I was just wearing the title of dad, like some of the achievements that we've had this year, fucking alone, just having a healthy fucking baby that's 9 months old, walking, trying to talk. That alone, dude. What the fuck? And it's so strange. It's funny because it's almost the same thing as the goal's ambition, right? Like itself, like setting them, it's
Right.
lost on you, right? Like it's lost on you in 5 fucking minutes. Also, you accomplish something and it's fucking lost on you in 5 fucking minutes. Why the fuck is that? You know, like what is that, people?
Maybe that's a whole separate other conversation. Like it's
Yeah.
maybe, and I kind of don't want to go down that rabbit hole today because I also
too much. It's too much.
It is, and people start throwing around terms like, "Oh, you're a high achiever." Like, if you no, I'm like, it's like I don't know.
No.
You know, or a creative, same sort of thing. But anyway, all this stuff during the course of the year, and yeah, so because the funny thing is, like, if they called tomorrow and said, okay, you're good to go, here's your funding, you know, move to Sweden, let's start building. I know I'd arrive in Sweden without even breaking a sweat and go, okay, what's first? Like, there'd be no pause, there'd be no congratulations, there'd be no like whatever. It'd be like next thing. So I am aware. I am acutely aware, and I've tried. I have tried this year at times, like when I've finished the book, for instance, tried to pause and just go, okay, like we don't need to immediately rebound into the next evolution, the next project, the next whatever. We can pause. I actively made the choice because I finished the book in September and I was planning to launch in November of last year. And then I had the thought, like, no, like if we're going to do a course, then push it until March of this year, because that's, you know, business, blah, 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 blah. And I was probably depressed for a fucking week because it's ridiculous. I'm crazy. I
just a smidge.
Right? I just so this is what I've got to deal with. But anyway, so here we are. So I guess in terms of giving something up, it's, you know what it is? Like, I know I have stupid high standards for myself, but that's because I think I can achieve them. But also there's that sort of that stick that you beat yourself with to get there. And if I could find what that stick was or where the fuck it is, then I'd put that down. You know, because I going back to our conversation.
What a visual.
Going back to our very first conversation, episode 61, can happy people be successful? And I sort of made the case that I don't think so. I think you need, you know, to be exceptional, you need that little bit, you need that stick, you need that grit, you need whatever it is, and that, because that pushes you to not settle, right? The ideal for me is to somehow, somewhere, with someone, find the balance of being happy and passionate and still active and ambitious and creative and chasing things with that sort of balance, without being hard on myself. And sort of it's obtuse because most people punish themselves with like either alcohol or drugs or bad relationships and that sort of stuff, and I don't do any of that, so it's just my mind fucking with me. So
I think when you're looking at that situation, those people are self-sabotaging. That's quite different. That's quite different.
That's probably a good point. Yeah.
And I if I'm being honest, I don't think that's done with the level of awareness that it takes to self-abuse. Because I mean, that's what you're doing, bro. You know what I mean? And I do the same. It is right, and that's the same fucking thing. I've thought about it all the time. That's a good thing for me too, where it's like, hey, bro, you do not have to be so incredibly hard on yourself. And like, there are times, Misfits, I swear to God, even as far as I've come, like, I will beat the hell out of myself. Like, you are a dumb idiot, bro. Like,
yeah, but see,
on.
I have the same conversation, and my immediate response is, well, like, who's going to get anything done? You know, because it's not going to be you, it's not going to be them, it's not going to be like, and you know, the love of a good woman isn't going to save me. Like, it's my life. I'm responsible. I'm in control of my immediate realm and domain.
I can't argue with that.
I know, but obviously, it's not working for me in the way that I would like, right? So I'm aware enough of that to go. There's and the colleagues that I trust and the peers that I trust and Robbie, who I love and adore, like everyone preaches like patience and grace, and I hate fucking universal timing. You know, this shit. Because if that
dude,
would
someone said some dumb shit to me the other day that was the same thing that I almost could not argue with, just
right.
because even thinking about it from a logical standpoint, sitting in the sauna, old dude, not the naked old dude, just for the misfits that have heard this on the show, not the naked old dude. Fucking, he's just sitting in there, and it's just me. Corb's not with me. And we're talking. And he was like, I just want to leave you with something today. And it was bizarre, bro. It was one of those old man moments. I was like, this motherfucker's going to die in like fucking 30 seconds or something. Dude, like, what the fuck? But
old man wisdom in the sauna.
Like, come on, dude. Okay. But he's like, the doors that you're looking to open are going to stay locked until you're the version that needs to unlock them. Hey, I knew you're gonna be triggered by it, and that's been done in so many different ways. And so there's a cliche quote that people spit of that. But when he walked away, look, hear me out. When he walked away, and I sat and I thought about it for a second, it's almost like you and I talk about with creativity and skills. Like, there are certain things that I mean, inarguably, I will not be able to achieve if I don't have the skill set and awareness to achieve those things.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about the universal timing and all that shit, like, yes, it fucking bothers me too, but this repetition of this lesson that you're going through, specifically with it, patience, my friend, is like, bro, you still have not got there. So why?
I have. I've been patient for a fucking year. I designed this in March last year. I fucked around with your process. I went through your funding. We did the business plans. We did it a second time. I've not heard anything from you in months. I wrote a book in the fucking meantime while trying to be chill about you guys just fucking around with funding. So I'm not going to sit on my hands and do nothing. And I say this to you, old man in the sauna. Like, if everyone sits around and waits, for divine universal timing, nothing gets done.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And
now,
then
look,
if Eleanor, my friend in London, if you're ever listening to this, she like made the amazing point, like, the greatest achievements are made by the people who were like restless and didn't accept and didn't X, Y, and Z. I didn't say, they were always entirely happy or had great lives, but they got shit done. So
look,
I'm trying. Sorry, let me do this. I'm trying to find the sweet spot in the middle, like, or is there even one? It's. I would like to think that there is.
Okay,
please.
And that's the first optimistic thing I've heard Chris sit on for a while. So we'll leave that alone. Like, you can have that. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. But look, I just want a second layer why it hit me is because, again, it's not so much waiting around. It's not so much. I didn't take it that way when he said that to me. It was almost like, because of what you're doing today, right? Like, these things ultimately are going to lead you to be the version of the person that can
Fuck off.
And no, don't fuck off me. You fucking you listen here, sir. Because look, I'll say this is again as much as yes, you're right. I will credit you. Even with the Misfits, I've watched your patience come fucking night and day from. I mean, I really, truly, I'm giving you that credit. I'm giving you that credit. You deserve it. You have come far in that realm. But I will say this. I think same as I was talking about with my father and kind of letting go to where it's like I'm aware of these things. I know these things. I'm mature about them. I've got a perspective on it. I'm just not there's something there, that I'm not.
Okay. All
And
right. So
I feel like for you, my friend, I can't put the finger on it either. I can't say, but
okay. So how's this? Because this well done, because you've led me to a little thought that I had earlier in the week that I was sort of reflecting on.
okay.
And here we go, Misfits. It's story time. Chris is getting on his soapbox. So back in the day, so there are things that you can achieve through effort.
Mhm.
And something I learned through acting college is that there's things that you can achieve and can only be achieved through release.
Mm.
Right. Now, I came from running a kung fu school in my 20s, and so that's effort driven. Like, if you don't know a technique, then you drill it. If I don't know a thing, then you drill it. And so this little discipline of self-drive and ethic, like, super helpful, because I don't need to rely on anyone else. I can practice forms, I can do this and whatever else. So there was a reason I was running a school, by the time I was 21. But then I take this ethic to acting college. Where you're learning to emotionally connect and have that like reflect through your body and connect with other people and all that sort of stuff. And so, of course, my discipline is like, teach me the technique. I can learn the technique. I know the lines. I'll do the thing. But it would only sort of get me so far in terms of genuine connection and performance. And the feedback I would constantly get for the 3 years that I was there is like, there's things that you need to, it's not something to work at, you need to release from. Right.
Mm.
And it I understand. I eventually took me some hard, deep fucking personal lessons and all that sort of shit for 3 years of acting college, and you sort of take it into the world and then try it, you know what I mean? And then try it in relationships and everything else. But arguably that's what we're talking about here. Whereas I think I still believe, or my default is to effort everything. If I can't get it immediately, then I work harder and I make more effort and I make it happen. And if that's not working, then there's some things that can only be achieved through release, like trust, for instance. Trust can only be achieved through release. Intimacy and like genuine, honest connection can only be achieved through release. So maybe that's my little lesson here. Maybe I remember having this thought earlier in the week and going, that's pretty profound. And then going, yeah, but if I don't do anything, nothing gets done. So I guess I need to find a way or something, or a mode through which I can release or let go of certain projects or certain expectations, because that's the underlying fear, is if I release and sort of trust someone else, it'll never get done. And I miss my shot, miss my opportunity, miss the outcome, miss all those sort of things. That impacts me. I don't entirely trust the universal release process.
Wow. That was interesting. Effort and
There you go.
release. Yeah, that's I really, really like that. I think Misfits, if you take anything from the episode, that applies to almost all things we were talking about in the episode. I mean, even the emotional stuff, right? Like, can I effort myself through trying to logic
To be a
this
better
process?
dad. Yeah.
Or do I really just take the moment to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm gonna be like, and release,
Well,
bro, release.
Well, you touched on forgiveness earlier, and like surely like forgiveness is like the ultimate release. You know, regardless of harm, regardless.
The hardest one to do.
Yeah, probably. You know, like again, like objectively, like easy for me to say, right? Can I forgive myself? Can I forgive myself that I'm not the absolute perfect, optimal version of myself at all times every day? No. So how do I find grace around that?
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
This
I
was
don't even
supposed to
mind.
be an interval, Brody. This was supposed to be, fun chats and banter.
Yeah, fuck Joyce. She didn't even come into the conversation,
Right?
dude.
We were going to talk about pet peeves and
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
the
This
difference
is good.
between Australia and America, but no. Here we are.
No,
New
this
Year's
is good.
resolutions and accountability and effort and release.
I, even if we wrapped up here, I mean, Misfits. Fuck, come into this new year with what approach are you taking? I mean, even just that general awareness, that to me is you said that, it's profound. It's profound. It's profound. It's profound in the sense that if you have that acknowledgement to whatever it is you're approaching, whether it's emotional, whether it's professional, whether it's personal, whatever the fuck, you kind of get a little bit more control in the situation is what it says to me. Am I
Yeah,
okay?
that's a good way of putting it.
Am I going to leverage that? Am I going to double down and okay, the effort is what's giving me the release, or do I, like you're saying, do I need to find that thing? And if that's the situation, fuck, at least I know I'm looking for something other than what I've been fucking hounding myself with.
Yeah, you're not just
Thank
operating on
God.
default. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And yeah, kudos, props to you, my friend. That's some work in itself. That's some work
That's
in
a year's
itself.
worth of work. I'll let you know how it goes, Misfits.
Yeah. And this year.
I'll release by spring. How's that?
Okay,
I'll be released by spring.
Deal.
All right. So let us know, Misfits. Like, how's your New Year shaking out? Like, are you a resolutions kid? Do you sort of take it as it goes? Do you write lists, or do you? I tell you what, I do. I do write sort of a list of. I have a framework for a list of principles, and they're more guiding rather than must have this done by X, Y, and Z. It's just like
I feel like we talked about this last year. Yeah, I feel like you mentioned this last year.
Yeah, and it's just about having an objective or like an intention for the year. Like, this is the sort of person that I want to be. This is the position or where I want to be heading to. So it's just, and I do this with every journal actually. In the back, I write these are the things. So anytime I sort of feeling lost because it's not just January 1st, it's consistently, I can reference my map of where I want to go, and just sort of remind myself that, like, oh, I'm writing the book and building the course because I want to be this sort of person and operate in this space. Okay, then, like, I'm aligned, sort of thing.
Well done. Okay, I like that roadmap. Fuck people. I mean, God, as a marketing guy, I don't know why I haven't fucking done that shit. Giving myself a roadmap.
Do that. Be a good dad by spring. So let us know, Misfits. We want to know if you make resolutions. In the meantime, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on the Instas and the TikToks. We've got a new website. You can check it out. It's promisfitspodcast.com. It's got all the things. Thanks again to Nick and IGU for sponsoring us on this season. Broedy, that was episode 65. Episode 66, do you know what's coming up next?
No, and you fucking called me out in the beginning.
Happy New Year, Misfits. Take a drink every time Broedy doesn't know what's coming up next. Have some leftover eggnog or some wine or champagne. Episode 66, Broedy, is on boundaries.
Yes.
Do you have boundaries? Do you set boundaries? Are you good at enforcing boundaries? How does it make you feel? All those sorts of things. Given what we've talked about today, it seems like sort of a natural evolution to the conversation, which is handy.
Yes, it is. Actually, that worked out well. Did you plan that, my friend?
Sure. Just made it up on the fly. Actually, next week, this is what we'll talk about. No, so that's what we're talking about next week, Misfits. So if you've please give us a like, give us a subscribe, all those sorts of things, because we're starting to pay attention to our metrics now. And it's coming along nicely. We can talk about that at another time. But
we've reached over 500,000 of you in just this year alone, when our first 6 month was 250,000 impressions. So this has just been, we're getting close to 1 million people knowing the Professional Misfits, or at least having landed on your For You page. So thank you guys.
That's interesting.
Appreciate
it. That's an interesting thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So come join us and hang out every week.
Yes.
In the meantime, I've been Chris.
I've been Broedy.
And you stay classy, Misfits. Happy New Year. And we'll see you on the next one.